we left Joseph yesterday in chapter 2, he was travelling across a mountain valley in a trolley, suspended by wires between two mountain ranges. He was approaching the far side, not knowing what would be there. Chapter 3, the hiding place. The cage banged to a standstill. The light of the torch was flashed full into Joseph's face. "I have you covered with my pistol," said Joseph steadily. "If you make a sound, I'll shoot." A Polish voice swore. "Be quiet, do you want me to shoot?" said Joseph. "Hand me your torch." He seized it from the trembling hands and flashed the beam onto a grey-bearded peasant face. Joseph's spirits rose. The man was Polish, a countryman of his. Joseph spoke more gently. "Do as I tell you, and you'll come to no harm. Unload the cage." Joseph questioned him while he was unloading. "Is the cage worked from this end? The control is in your hands? Good. We shan't be disturbed then. Take me to where you live." The crates were safely stacked in the shed by the cage locked. The peasant had kept one crate for himself. It contained provisions and clothing from town. He lifted it onto his shoulder and then led the way along the track of beaten snow that wound upwards through the pine trees. Soon they came to his home. It was a large chalet with a wide overhanging eaves. Wood was stacked at the sides. He laid down the crate and led Joseph inside. A wood fire was burning brightly in a wide open hearth. A large pot hung above it from a hook in the chimney. An old lady was sitting by the fire. She looked startled. Joseph threw his cap and great coat over a chair. "Here is the pistol I almost shot you with," he said. "It's a slab of chocolate." He broke it into 3 pieces, giving one to each of them. They were suspicious and waited until Joseph had swallowed his piece before they ate theirs. "I don't understand," said the peasant slowly. "You speak like a Pole. You look like a Pole. But your uniform." At that moment a bell clanged out from over the other side of the valley. It echoed amongst the mountains. "That's the prison bell," said Joseph. "It's a long time since it rang last, like that, when the last prisoner escaped." "You've come to search for him?" asked the old lady. "I am the prisoner," said Joseph. "I knocked out a guard and stole his uniform. Look, if you don't believe me, here's my camp number burnt into my arm. ZAK 2473. I want you to hide me." The number convinced them that he was telling the truth. They knew that if they were found hiding him, they would die. But they were brave people and did not hesitate. Joseph slept in a warm bed that night for the first time in 2 years. In the morning the old man went to work the luggage lift as usual. Before going, he arranged a danger signal. If there were any soldiers coming across in the cage, he would whistle 3 times. And he showed Joseph a hiding place in the woodshed. While he was away, Joseph showed the old woman the tattered photos of his family. He had taken them out of his wallet so many times to look at them that they were creased and crumpled and finger-marked all over. He spoke about his wife and children, the school, his capture by the Nazis, about the shortage of food, the destruction everywhere, and the continual fear of arrest. Every day had brought news of more families being split up. The old woman was moved by his story. While he was speaking, she began to think of ways in which she could help him. He looked starved and needed good food. She had a little cheese and oatcakes, a side of bacon hanging in the cellar, and the remains of a tin of real coffee, saved from before the war. Suddenly, there was a loud bang at the door. Was it a search party? If so, why had the old man given no warning? A voice called out in German. There was no time to escape to the woodshed. "Quick, up there!" The old woman pointed up the chimney. "There's an opening on the right, halfway up." Joseph dived into the hearth and hauled himself up over the iron spit. The fire only smouldered, and there was not much smoke. He had not found their opening when the door burst open and 2 soldiers came in. While they searched the room, he stood very still, his legs astride the chimney. He wanted to cough. He thought his lungs would burst. Suddenly, a head peered up the chimney. It was the old woman. "They've gone upstairs," she said, "but don't come down yet." She showed him where the opening was. He crept inside, coughing. He could see the sky through the wide chimney above him. He was congratulating himself on his good luck when he heard the soldiers return to the room below. With difficulty, he controlled a cough. "What about the chimney?" said the German voice. "There's plenty of room to hide up there." "Plenty of soot too," said the other soldier. "Your uniform's older than mine. What about you going up?" "Not likely." "Then we'll send a couple of bullets up for luck." 2 ear-splitting explosions. It seemed as if the whole chalet was falling down. Joseph clung onto his perch. There was a great tumbling about his ears. He clung and he clung and he clung, until his fingers were torn from their grip, and he fell. When he came to his senses, he was lying on the floor. The old woman was bending over him, washing his face with cold water. "It's all right, they've gone," she said. "The fall of soot saved you. The soldiers ran for it when the soot came down. They were afraid for their uniforms." "I'm sorry I didn't have time to warn you," said the old man. "The soldiers had hidden themselves in the cage. I didn't see them until it was too late." Joseph spent 2 whole weeks in the chalet. The old couple treated him like a son, sharing all they had with him. They fed him so well that his thin cheeks filled out and he gained several pounds in weight. They were simple, homely folk, and in their company his mind grew more peaceful than it had been for years. In the brutality of his prison life, he had almost forgotten what kindness was. He passed his time indoors, mostly eating and resting. More than once he was tempted to go outside. The spring sun beamed down all day from long clear skies. It melted the icicles that hung from the roof. It roused the first chrysochus from the bare brown patches in the snow. But there was no sense in exposing himself, and he wisely stayed indoors. The nights were freezing, and he was glad of his warm blankets. On the 15th night he left the chalet on the first stage of his long journey home. The moon was in her first quarter, and it was freezing hard. He was wearing the warm woolen clothes of a Polish Highlander. The old man went with him as a guide for 3 days till they were clear of the high mountains. On the afternoon of the second day they reached the edge of the snow line. Little rivers coursed down from under the snow. Wherever they trod, the ground was soggy and their boots squelched. But it was a joy to leave the snow behind and to see the snowdrops and flowers everywhere. Lower down in the valley, the grass was already green, pretty with primroses, violets, and wild daffodils. In the gorge, where the river Sanyak tumbles down between the steep wooden rocks to meet the great rivers of the plains, they said goodbye to each other. The old man took Joseph's head between his hands, blessed him, and wished him good fortune. Okay, 5 questions today for chapter 3. So I really want you to look carefully, do full sentence answers with lots of detail, and don't forget about examples from the story to back up your ideas. What I really want you to focus on today is the creative task. The Polish couple looked after and helped Joseph while he stayed with him. Write a thank you note to the couple, saying what their kindness meant to him. And then don't forget your elements of design. It'd be really good if you could find an old bit of paper online and then do your writing on top of it, saying what Joseph would have said to that kind couple while he was staying with them and as he left. I'm really looking forward to seeing those. I'd like to see these on your blog, so please do a great job. It really lets me know you've understood what you've read. Until chapter 4, have a great day. Be safe.